Welcome to Fangirling Episode 5. My name is Natasha, and I am joined today by some very special guests. We have return guest Brittany, who plays Rish, of course, but we also have some new faces in Eli and Adam. And can you all introduce yourselves, starting with you, Adam?
I'm Adam Blanford. I'm playing the part of Ben on Fangirls, and I'm really excited to be here.
Hi, I'm Elijah Gabriel, and I play James, likewise.
Hi, I'm Brittany, and I play Rish.
Thanks so much for joining us today, guys. Appreciate it. I'm so glad to catch up with you on the latest episodes and to finally get to speak with you. I've been fangirling myself over what you guys have been creating. So for some intro to everyone, did you guys want to talk about your history with voice acting and how you got into doing Fangirls itself? And we'll start with you, Eli.
All right, so voice acting. I started, I guess, this year, the end of last year. I more so am a writer, and that's also a segue into how I got involved with Fangirls, because Kyle is a lead in one of these shows that I've wrote and is produced, and the first season's finished. And after that, he was like, "Hey, have this new project. We'd love to have you on it." And I was like, "Sure, obviously, I'll help out."
Awesome. What kind of show?
It's a dystopian sci-fi show set in a prison.
Oh, awesome. And how about yourself, Adam? You seem to have some experience.
So with voice acting, I started actually when I was a kid. I did radio commercials when I was about 7 years old for some local stores. And then after I heard myself, I sounded like Linus from the Peanuts, Peanuts cartoons. So I stopped for about 15, 20 years. And I got into it about 2 years ago. I had some friends who just thought I had a really good voice, and once I finally, started listening to them, I started doing various podcasts and things like H.G. Wells Has His Regrets, Project Ozma, and I also recorded 3 audiobooks in the last year. So I have a little bit of experience.
I would say that's a lot. And Brittany, we've talked before. It's good to have you back.
Thank you. And yeah, it's just a reminder, I guess, for people who don't know, I started off voice acting with my friend who does shorts on YouTube. And then how I got involved with this was Swara, who used to host Belta Banthways. He now, I think, still does the Flash podcast. He recommended me to Marie Claire, and that's how I got to audition and everything like that.
We're so glad to have you. And I know that you do podcasting as well, still doing that pretty heavily.
I do, and we have to start up again for Black Lightning podcast very soon. So I'm excited for that.
Well, I guess to start out the episode in regards to talking about what you guys have been working on the show itself, we've had some interesting developments within the story. The introduction, of course, of Ben and James. And did you guys want to talk about your characters a little bit and how you got into them and maybe how you adopted those roles? We can start with you, Ben. Ben, you know that I'm a fan, obviously. I helped Marie Claire write that part, but...
Nice. I should say I didn't answer the first part of the question. I actually was brought into the podcast later on. I was finishing up an audiobook, and I had actually realized that I hadn't auditioned for Fangirls yet. So I checked with Marie Claire. I said, "I'm trying to finish up this audiobook. Can I just send you some other existing podcast material that I've done in the past? Because I just don't have time to do an audition." And so one of the characters I sent her was this very well-meaning but really goofy guy named Randy. It was for a podcast short on Seminar by Pendant Audio. And he was very well-meaning, but just really clueless about the world. And that actually kind of helped to inform about Ben in some ways, because he means well, I think, but ultimately he's kind of a jerk. So that really helped me kind of focus that character. And when I first started putting Ben together, he was a lot like Randy, and he had this kind of goofy, kind of stoner accent a little bit. And then when I started talking to Marie Claire, she started giving me more insight into what the character was about. And so I began to shift the voice to be a little bit more smooth and a little more suave, because he's supposed to be so charismatic, even though he's utterly clueless about what he's doing. So that really helped me kind of put it together. And then I sent her a couple of example clips of what I thought Ben might sound like, and she loved it from the first take. So this was like the very first time that I ever had a character that just was kind of a lock from the beginning. So I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, she really liked having you as an option. I know this personally from her telling me you'll be really excited to hear Adam's voice. And what can I say? You have a great voice. So
Well, thank you.
And Eli, how do you enjoy the role of James?
He's an interesting character. Just like I said before, I'm a newbie when it comes to voice acting, so one, I hope that everyone likes it, and I know I won't compare to like Adam or the rest of the cast, but the way that I kind of developed him after reading the first episode that he's in, I got a very posh, arrogant vibe. So I kind of fell into him being the stereotypical high-class type character of, oh, we don't talk about things like that, or like that's not what we do. And that's kind of the way I went about it. I had another voice, forgot what it was now, but Maria Claire liked the more posh accent, so I went with that.
Some more of the Hollywood elite.
Yeah, high society.
It makes it even more funny for what's to come. No spoilers, but yeah.
Oh, they're yeah.
Well, weren't you going to be British originally?
Yeah, it didn't work out because I'm also doing Insomnia Project, and I kept like falling into a country accent. And I was just like, I can't do this.
And Brittany, you get to kind of flex your wings a little bit more with the new stuff. You've got a lot of lines and interactions, of course, with James's character and with the other ladies.
I actually just finished recording the last 2 episodes. So, and that's, I think episode 7 is the one where I kind of talk to more James, or is that 6?
I think get more into it in 7, you're right.
Yeah, but I know we're like, this is for episode 5. But being Rish has been so much fun. And I feel like she really enjoys like starting stuff, even if she doesn't. I think sometimes she might not realize to the extent of what she's doing, but I feel like she loves like being mischievous, and I feel like she's a good like chaotic neutral person. Like I think that's Rish, and so I kind of play more on that. And Marie told me to try to lean into more sarcasm when like speaking as Rish, so that's what I try to do. But I feel like sometimes like certain things I say, you can hear the California Valley Girl voice, which I try to hide. But yeah, Rish has been fun, and she's definitely a troublemaker, I would say.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Have you guys spoken before or worked together on your lines, or is this the first time?
First time.
First time.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Yeah, I know that everybody recorded separately, so don't always anticipate what kind of reactions they'll be getting out of each other, but you did do line readings together. So for the new folks, what is your guys' interest in Star Wars? Do you have a fan kind of perspective, or is this all new for you?
Half and half. I know that's a cop-out answer, but I've been a fan of Star Wars since 6-7 years. I actually got into it pretty late into high school. One day, me and my friends were talking. It said never saw Star Wars before. They freaked out, and we just had a whole day of binge drinking and eating snacks, etc. You know how high schoolers are. And we watched the entire all 6 episodes in that one day. So that's how I got into it. So I love this take.
Oh, that's awesome. What's your favorite Star Wars movie?
I like 2 for the city, but I guess 4.
A New Hope.
Yeah, New Hope.
That's a good one. And how about you, Adam?
I got into it very early. I used to watch Star Wars with my friends when I was probably 6 or 7 years old. And I've read a lot of the books that are now part of the Legends canon. So I've got a fair amount of knowledge that is now sort of useless, but sort of useful because they're, cherry picking from the old canon. But, I've been a fan for a very long time. I'm pretty knowledgeable, but I would never presume to be anywhere near like Marie Claire's level, because that's just presumption. But I'd say that I'm a pretty big fan. And my favorite movie would probably have to be The Empire Strikes Back overall.
Very good selection there. That's mine as well, besides The Last Jedi.
Excellent.
And Brittany, I know that we've talked that you like Star Wars too, but if you want to reiterate for people who haven't listened before.
Yeah, so I grew up with Star Wars because my dad caught me into them when he was younger, and kind of grew from there, but I never really I feel like I don't have as much knowledge as Marie Claire. I'm going to be honest, I probably really don't.
Very few people do.
I know. Gosh, I just read her tweets. I'm like, I'm learning so much, and it makes me feel bad that I don't know as much. But my favorite Star Wars movie then is always I feel like everyone says Empire Strikes Back, but it's that. And I really did like The Last Jedi. And I'm sorry, I love Revenge of the Sith. I know there's people who are like, but that movie's great. You don't know how much I quote that movie around the house, and my family probably hates me for it, but
it's the absolutely most quotable, and I do love that movie. It grows on you over time as well, with more and more perspective.
It's so good. It's so good. And then when it came out, I was like, I want to say 14, 15. And so like I had the hugest crush on Hayden Christensen. So that was another plus for that.
Yes, absolutely. He is gorgeous. I have met him in real life now, and yeah.
I was so jealous.
It was really hard to keep my cool in that moment, but
You held it together?
I tried.
That's good.
Yeah.
How good is trying?
Were you slobbering?
No, that was definitely more for Ian McDermott, actually. I was definitely drooling for him.
Okay. Just getting a gauge there.
What can I say? Palpatine does that for me, but...
What's that laugh, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's just really, you know, it's flirty yet cruel and, you know, world killing.
It's the best part of the new trailer.
Yeah, I was about to say, he's back.
I'm very happy about that fact. I don't know about you guys. Are you looking forward to the new movie?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I'm waiting for Matt Smith to stop acting like he's not in the movie, though.
Same.
I'm waiting for his lightsaber to look like the 11th Doctor's screwdriver.
Oh my God.
So cool.
I would love that.
I want like a Star Wars outfit with a bow tie. That'd be pretty good.
No, fezzes. Fezzes are cool.
Yes. So on the subject of fandom, outside of Star Wars, what are your guys' interests? And we'll start with the new folks again. Eli?
Ooh, fandom. Let's see.
Anything you take a road trip for, basically.
Game of Thrones.
Oh, nice.
But
still a fan?
Yeah, I was after season 8 though. I was just meh about it.
Yeah.
I feel that.
I mean, they could have done so much better, but I mean, it is how it is. So I still think I would go on a road trip for Game of Thrones. And I'm currently watching Westworld, and I'm loving Westworld. So also Westworld.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the new fandom. That's a good one.
Why, thank you.
So mine would have to be Star Trek. Basically, I am the Marie Claire of Star Trek. I used to play online trivia with my gaming guild a couple of years ago, and they ended up having to change the rules because my knowledge base was so vast and my reaction time was equally fast that they had to change it so that anybody who got the right answer within like 5 seconds would get credit, because that was the only way that anybody had a hope in hell of winning. But yeah, I've been a fan of Star Trek at least as long, if not longer, than Star Wars. And I had an uncle who worked on a couple of the Star Trek series, so I became a pretty big fan.
That's really great. I would say that I'm an equally big Star Trek fan, although not necessarily as knowledgeable on it as Star Wars. What's your favorite series?
I got to go with Deep Space Nine.
Yes.
Because I think it's aged really well, because a lot of the things that are prevalent in that series are still prevalent today.
Yep.
And so I absolutely love the characters. They did a great job with the primary and secondary cast of characters and interweaving them into different storylines. And then the other reason that I'm really a big fan of it is that I visited the set of Deep Space Nine when I was 13.
Oh, wow.
So I got to see the promenade and, you know, spin the Dabo wheel in Quark's bar and sit in the captain's chair of the Defiant. And I met Terry Farrell in costume when she was filming a scene with René Aubergenois. So
that's so cool.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Fun.
Do you know what episode it was for?
There's an episode called Facets where Dax revisits all of her previous hosts, like they're embodied in different hosts. So the scene where Odo professes his love, Odo Curzon professes his love for Jadzia Dax, I watched that scene being filmed.
That is so amazing.
I loved it.
Did you see Morn?
No, he wasn't on set that day.
Oh.
Sorry.
It's all right. Yeah, my absolute favorite series of Star Trek, because the writing is so spectacular and the acting is as well.
Absolutely.
People need to revisit that because it is very prevalent to our times. It's commentary.
And I think that a lot of people will be revisiting it, especially with these new series coming out. So
yeah. Is everybody excited for Picard? I know I am.
Oh, I am. Very much so. My wife is just looking at me and just barely tolerating me at this point. She gets this look and she just kind of humors me. She nods and smiles and she does it. I've gotten adept at it over the years at recognizing that, but she just nods and smiles and says, "Okay, what's for dinner?"
Not as invested, I'm guessing.
Well, she is a fan, but nowhere near where I am in terms of knowledge or, you know, fanaticism. So I'm cool with that. That's fine. I'll be a fan enough for both of us.
That works. And Brittany, you're still podcasting on DC, is that correct?
It's a Black Lightning podcast, and then it's DC TV Classics, which I personally haven't been on in a while, but the show is still kind of running. And then there's Do You Even Comic Book, which is just anything comic book related in general, which we still always end up somehow talking about Star Wars. But yeah, huge fandoms for me. I'm super into Harry Potter and music fandom, which I think I talked about that last time. Fall Out Boy is who I would probably travel across the country for if I had the money to. I'm still hoping to see them play in Chicago in their hometown one day.
That would be excellent.
Yeah, I'd probably cry, but... What about you?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I really can't speak to anything right now. I mean, obviously I'm a Star Wars fan, but you've probably seen my tweets.
For our dear listeners.
Been watching a lot of Asian dramas.
Oh, with
Yeah,
Japanese, Chinese, Korean? What?
Mostly Chinese, but I got into a Korean one recently, which is really good. But yeah, excellent stuff.
I was going to recommend one. I didn't finish it, but I think you might like it. It's a Korean drama. I can't remember what it's called, but it's this comic book character in it that comes to life. And like this lady like goes in between like the real world and then that world of the comic. And like he ends up coming out of the comic. And so it's crazy. It's pretty good.
Oh, that's awesome. Send me the rec when you get a chance because I would love to watch it.
I have to remember what it's called.
I bet I could find it on those details alone just by tweeting about it, and somebody jumping in, which is nice.
Yes.
You guys have pretty healthy social media lives in regards to fandom, or?
I would say active social media life, but not in regards to fanning.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. I try to just not, because I see so much fandom drama now that I'm just like, I don't want to deal with the drama. So I just tweet if I like something. And I know sometimes I'll tweet something I don't like, but I just try to stay out of all the drama areas, and which just seems like that's all I see on my feed now is people demanding the Snyder Cut or not wanting the Snyder Cut, people being mad that, you know, they don't like Jeremy Renner, and I just see so much stuff on the timeline that I'm just like, okay, guys, let's not.
Or cancel D&D.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, but at the same time, I was just like, they decided to deviate from the book, so that's their fault.
I mean, they're not really, you know, out there yet, so
yeah. My Twitter is kind of an all-purpose kind of thing, so I might be a fan one day and then a voice actor the next, and then saying something completely random after that. I was ill a few days ago, so I said, you know, please send good thoughts for me, or, you know, pray for a quick death. One of the two. I don't care which one it is. But yeah, I agree with Brittany. There's a lot of drama these days in fandoms, and there's just a lot of conflict about, well, who should be in control and who should dictate, you know, who's a fan and who's not a fan. And you know, I just agree that if you like something, then you're a fan. You know, we shouldn't be fighting over this. We should be celebrating and enjoying what we have and engaging in respectful discourse.
Absolutely. I think it shouldn't be about gatekeeping what is true fandom versus, you know, and also the level of participation should be up to for everybody to do whatever they want, you know, but be nice and kind and treat others like you would like to be treated within the community as well.
Definitely.
Exactly. Everybody has to enter the fandom at some point, and you don't know who's going to be the next super fan and who's going to be the next casual fan. And, you know, you just accept people as they are. You know, my wife, you know, was not really a fan of Star Trek, and I managed to make her a fan of Star Trek and got her into Star Wars a little bit more. And I've converted my son. So you jump into these fandoms at different points and you just accept the way that people engage with it as best you can.
But I was a fan since day one.
I was a fan since before it was cool, dude.
Yeah, we try to avoid some of the toxic elements of modern day fandom, but have you guys ever experienced anything that you were like, I just can't interact with that?
Like extremely bad?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Or just mildly upsetting. I'm sure with the Game of Thrones content, myself being a Song of Ice and Fire fan,
Mm-hmm.
having to witness some extremely bad takes has been upsetting for myself, but I don't know about you guys.
I don't know. I feel like I could have some, like, depending on how people feel, like my takes on Game of Thrones could have been a bad take. But yeah, no, there was some in Game of Thrones, and I think a lot of people didn't understand certain, like, the way people were upset about what happened to Miss Sunday. I think some people didn't get the conversation behind it, so that one was more of like I'm tired of talking about this, so I'm done. I'm not going to say anything else. For Game of Thrones, at least, that was the one that was just like, eh. And then anything about Zack Snyder on Twitter now is just like, I'm not even going to get involved. It's just, it's pointless.
Yeah, I think anytime I hear the word Snyder Cut, I kind of like lose a little bit of life.
Yeah, and I don't even care if it's people who are against or for it. I'm like, I don't care anymore. Just stop.
Is there anything you're excited for coming out of the new Marvel Cinematic Universe arc? Or
Oh, yeah.
Blade is back.
Yes.
I just want to see how people can rectify the Loki graphic image, because everybody's been complaining about that. So I just want to see if people will eventually come to accept it, or if they're going to demand a redo in the graphic design.
I mean, it is pretty bad.
It is.
It's pretty ugly.
Well, okay.
I forgive it because Tom Hiddleston is involved, so it's okay.
Right? He's so dreamy.
He is. Oh gosh.
Yes.
I'm really excited for Shang-Chi because I'm really into Iron Fist, and I got into Iron Fist, and then I kind of started reading other stuff, and like Shang-Chi is, another character that kind of circles in his area, and so I'm very excited for that. And when I heard the casting announcement, I was excited. My dad is a huge fan of Kim's Convenience, which is a show that Simi was on. And I told my dad, and he's like, who? I'm like, the kid on the show. And then he kind of got excited. So we're a little bit excited about Shang-Chi in this house.
I am too, just by the enthusiasm that he has for the fact that he got cast. It's really nice to see.
Yeah, it's nice to see someone like tweet that, hey, this is the role I want to play. And then they actually legitimately get it, and actually there's someone who deserves it too, which is nice.
Dreams can come true.
Oh yeah.
With SDCC being so recent, it's hard to not think of anything. It's constantly, the stream is just constantly filled with talking about new media, new properties, new whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about you, but it can get a little bit it can burn you out a little bit.
I feel like that's like all gamers after E3. So many games, so many announcements. I feel the fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still riding that high of Final Fantasy VII coming out.
Yes.
So you're in a gaming league, you said?
I was in a gaming guild for a Star Trek game for a few years, actually. And I'm still part of the group, but I don't really play the game much anymore. But we do talk a lot about the various fandoms and about, just the kind of interactions fans have. And, we try to practice what we preach and be really open and accepting of different people's knowledge bases, backgrounds, interests, and, just generally set up a community.
Awesome. I guess we can pivot over to some of the more interesting questions, considering this all takes place in Vegas, and we can talk about real life as well. Let's shoot with your craziest experience. I don't know if you have been to Vegas or not.
I have.
I have not.
I have not.
Wow.
I've led a sheltered life.
You don't need to go. I've been. It's not worth it.
I mainly like going for concerts. Like the last couple times I went, it was just for concerts. But the M&M store is worth it. I would say.
Yeah. It's right next to the GameWorks. It's awesome.
You've been to the M&M store, right?
I have.
Yeah, I love it because sometimes the stores don't sell crispy M&Ms, which is like my favorite M&Ms. So anytime I'm in Vegas, I'm like, I don't care what I do. I just got to make sure I save enough money left of my end of the trip to get my crispy M&Ms.
Nice.
It's fun.
Last stop before you leave, right?
Usually it's like the last stop. But yeah, my grandma actually lives near there, so I should go pay her a visit.
No, it's all about the peanut M&Ms.
Do they still sell those in the store too?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't bought candy in a while, so.
Yeah, they still sell like the peanut M&Ms and like classic chocolate, but the crispy ones are kind of the ones that sometimes they have them in stores, sometimes they don't. So but they always have them at the M&M store in Vegas. So
nice.
Otherwise, they couldn't call themselves the M&M store. They wouldn't be worthy of the name.
That is true.
Well, besides Vegas, have you guys been to any cons or any large scale kind of meetups in the show?
I've had the opportunity to go to the Denver Comic-Con. The Pop Culture Con is the new name for it, but it's relatively new. It's only been around for a few years, so it's still kind of small scale, but it was really nice to be able to go and see all these people, cosplaying and, walking around and interacting with authors of books I've enjoyed reading. And I think my favorite thing was being able to sit and watch Nathan Fillion talk, kind of give his perspective on fandom and on the various roles he's played over time. That was really entertaining. So I've had a lot of fun at that, but I haven't done a lot of large scale meetups yet. Keyword yet.
Yeah. I mean, there's always time.
Exactly. There's always time. So hopefully, I'll be able to go to, I hope to go to SDCC one day before it becomes like its own mega city and, you need a visa to attend.
Same.
Nathan Fillion, was he talking about Serenity and Firefly, or was he talking about his other works?
He was talking about everything, talking about Serenity, Firefly, Castle, a whole range of things. Fun fact, I have a cousin who is working on her Directors Guild credits, and she was listed as a beer pong consultant for an episode of Castle.
Oh, that's fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, really proud. We're so proud of her.
That's amazing.
Right? I didn't even know that was a thing.
How do you get an accreditation in that,
Well, if you're knowledgeable in it, they'll just pretty much make up anything, I think. I could ask her, probably.
She went on set and was like, that's wrong.
Well, yeah, and then, but, like, obviously she was like, you know what, that's wrong. Let me teach you. Go get the 6-pack and let's get started and teach you properly. I wouldn't have put it past her.
Life goals right there.
You have to have goals, and you have to, like you said, you got to pursue your dreams.
Eli, have you been to anything?
There's Soda City Comic-Con in Columbia, South Carolina. It's not as big. There aren't any notable guests in the past, 3 years that I've went? But for whatever reason, this year, they got a whole heck of a lot of people. Like Michael Rooker, Kevin Conroy, Sephiroth, George Newbern.
Sephiroth, nice.
Preacher off of Walking Dead, Seth Gillum, is also going to be there. So they have a lot of people this year, so I might go this year. And the only other con or event I've went to was a few years ago in Salt Lake City, Utah, and there was just a big cosplay event going on there. So that was fun.
Was it just like a general cosplay con, or?
Yes, I actually don't remember. It was a few years ago. I was there for like a business case competition, and we were roaming around, and we just stumbled upon the event, and we were like, oh, all right.
Did you go in and look?
Oh, 100%.
That's awesome. Recognize any of the costumes?
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of Links, Zeldas. We saw Sephiroth, Cloud, the main ones, Superman.
Nice. Would you ever cosplay?
I have cosplayed.
Oh, okay. What?
Should I say it?
Come on, fess up.
Yeah. Me and my friends did it as a joke, so we were all a character from Sailor Moon.
Nice.
So we were a different character, so we were like the muscular Sailor Moons.
Which Sailor were you?
I was Red. Mars?
Yeah, you're Sailor Mars.
There you go.
Huge Sailor Moon fan over here, so I'm proud of you.
There are no photos on the web, so.
That's a shame. Better find
I
some.
think you should share.
Oh, no, I don't have any. They're all gone. There's like 2 pictures, and we can't even get a hold of them. So, we'll see.
Sucks.
Court order?
They're locked in a safe somewhere.
The world doesn't need to see them. It's fine.
It was deemed too dangerous for human consumption. For the good of humanity, it's been locked up for 1,000 years.
Exactly.
And then will only be unleashed as a WMD.
Have you guys cosplayed at all?
Speaking for myself, no, I have not. I just now realized this year that I bear a resemblance to Anson Mount, or a Captain Pike in the Star Trek Discovery series. So if I was going to cosplay, I'd probably go as him. And then knowing my luck, I'd run into him and look like a total dumbass. But, it would still be a lot of fun.
Well, from experience, I think that they'd appreciate that versus thinking that you look bad.
Yeah, but then you're like, wait a minute, you wore it better. I mean, so. But yeah, I think if I were to do that, I'd try for that first, that really putting on the costume and then just kind of combing the hair back. I think it would work for me. And then gradually working into more complex costumes. Do
you have a dream cosplay that you'd want to do?
Or most out there?
Most out there. I'll have to get back to you on that, because mine would probably be considered a worse weapon of mass destruction than yours. Mine could probably end humanity.
I see.
Eli's would just cause capitulation. Yeah, let me think about that. I'll get back to you.
How about you, Brittany?
I would love to cosplay Angela, Thor's half-sister, or I don't know.
Oh, yes. I love her.
And I like the new fur kind of coat thing they redid for her costume rebranding, which I love that. I'm like, I want a fur cape. I don't know, it's too hot in California to wear it, but I would still use it as something. And then Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, that's all I tweet about pretty much. So she would be fun to cosplay.
Totally. Very tight fitting outfit though.
If you do her newer one, not so much, but the original one, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear another Angela fan, because there's very few people that I've known that understand her history. Her comics are awesome.
Yes, I was so sad when it kind of ended. And then I was reading the Bendis run on Marvel Unlimited, but I forgot to renew my card information on there. And so after a while, if you don't renew it, they kind of cancel your subscription. And I just haven't got around to redoing it.
That happened to me too.
But I was reading her series that Bendis wrote. And I did read the introduction of her in the Guardians of the Galaxy one that Bendis had wrote. So I'm super into Angela and all of them.
In general, into Loki and the other Asgardians, I'm certain as well.
I'm going to be honest, I've read so much Loki fan fiction, so I have one that's saved on my bookmarks that I go back and read all the time. It's a very, I feel like that's the most rich like I'll ever be is like I hoard Loki fan fiction.
You'll have to send me that rec too. Is there like a pairing involved or?
Yeah, Amora the Enchantress.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. It's my girl too.
Yeah, she's awesome. I honestly got my nails done in like green today, and I was like, oh, this is very Amora.
Awesome. Are you guys comics fans as well, or into anything at all in that area?
I haven't really done a lot of comics over the years, but when I was a kid, I collected a lot of the DC universe, a lot of Batman, Superman. I mean, I was a kid right when they did the whole Nightfall arc where Bane broke Batman's back when Bane was really a threat and not really just a joke, because he became a punchline later on. But Batman and Robin really screwed him up. But I was a kid during Nightfall and Reign of the Supermen when Superman died. And so I was really into those, and then I collected other Star Trek comics, and then got into X-Men. And so I've got a fairly large collection, but I haven't done a whole lot of reading in recent years. I would like to get back into it though.
It's kind of one of those hobbies that you need to prepare for a little bit because of how much history is involved.
And your wallet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, it seems like they retcon the universe every 5 years now. So you got to read back at least 20 years in order to figure out what's changed and what you remember, and you kind of have to give up the idea that there's any solidity to the universe because everything changes.
Mm-hmm.
I would just pick up now from wherever you want to read. But Marvel Unlimited is a great app. Not to push Marvel a lot, but it's awesome because they have so much stuff from like years and years ago that you can read on there. And I think it's just like $10 a month or whatever.
Yeah, I got my subscription. It was almost dangerous because it was so much content.
Yeah. Like I had read so much like Iron Fist and Shang-Chi and is it the Fearless Defenders? Those series were a lot of fun to read. So that's great.
How about you, Eli?
I wouldn't say I've read too much, actually. I mean, I'm excited for getting into the New 52 because I heard that that's a really good like relaunch of the DC universe. So I'm going to probably get into that. I read the Miles comics when he was announced because I was like, oh, that's a really cool take on Spider-Man. What else? Yeah, not too much else in the comics area. More so in like the manga area, though.
Oh, nice. Any particular manga?
Love One Piece. Caught up on One Piece.
I've noticed a lot of people talking about One Piece online right now. Like, it seems to be almost a resurgence in either interest or like getting back into it.
It's because we're close to the end. So that's probably why everyone's like talking about it now, because it's probably all the good fights that people predicted years ago that are starting to happen.
Yeah, because that series has been running for forever, right?
Yeah, like 1999 or 98.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's in the 90s. Wow. I remember that.
Have you tried Black Butler?
Yes.
See, I love that one.
Okay. I have a few friends that like absolutely adore Black Butler.
That one's fun.
Manga or anime?
Well, it's kind of both. It's a manga, but then they've made it into a cartoon series, so it's also anime.
Of course. Yeah.
But, it's about this young man who's the head of house in England, but he also runs the Queen's watchdog. So he fends off crime and keeps crime manageable within England during the Victorian era. And he has this butler who just seems too good to be true. And it turns out that he's basically a minor devil in hell. And he's made a contract with this young man to protect him throughout his life and then claim his soul at the end of it. So it's kind of fun to watch the interplay between these two because they're just so snarky, but they've kind of come to depend on each other.
It's a good bromance, it sounds like.
Kinda, but he's like 1,000 years old and he's like 12. So
yeah. Awesome.
It's kind of a bro-relationship.
You read any manga, Brittany?
I do not. My little brother did. He was into a series, I think, called Amulet or something.
Amulet.
I think it was manga. I don't know. I know it's like anime book or something. But yeah, and to me, not so much. I was just mainly regular comic superheroes, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Did you get into any of the animation from DC and Marvel?
Oh, yeah. I loved watching the Batman, the animated series. Like, I would go home and make sure I watched that after school or I would throw a fit.
Static Shock.
I like Static Shock too, which I'm hoping they'll introduce him eventually on Black Lightning. I also really like the early 90s X-Men cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that.
I still have that sound, like the opening theme in my head all the time.
Oh, yeah, the theme's iconic.
Yes.
I remember the animated series, like the very first Batman animated series. And that was I couldn't miss that. I loved that as a kid.
Yeah, the one with the Kevin Conroy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
And Mark Hamill.
Yes, that's the one that, like, I would throw a fit if I missed it. That was my jam.
It was just so good. It was just so well written and well scripted and just fantastic.
Yeah, and Mark Hamill's so good as the Joker, which was like, as a kid, I didn't realize that Luke Skywalker and the Joker were the same person. Like it didn't click in my head, or like no one ever told me. And then I found out probably when I was like in middle school, and I was so upset. I was like, Dad, why did you tell me?
I was watching some late night show, and he was a guest on the show. He was promoting Wing Commander, I think, and somebody brought that up, and then he started doing the voice, and I couldn't believe it. I was just in shock that he was voicing this character that was just fantastic. I loved the Joker episodes.
Yeah,
it's just a testament to his talent.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I wish we had more of that. I don't think I could go see Chucky to get that kind of like scary Mark Hamill thing, but
no thanks. Chucky's not for me.
Not a horror fan.
Like I can watch some stuff, but Chucky, I was like traumatized as a kid with it, so I can't do Chucky.
Really?
Yeah, my aunt forced me to, when I was like 3 or 4. My aunt forced me to watch it. She thought it would be funny.
It's good family viewing.
No.
That is traumatizing.
Yeah, that traumatizing.
It's funny in my head.
What are your guys' favorite horror movies for those who are horror fans?
That's a really good question.
That'd be like slasher or just like...
Either or. It could be a slasher.
Well, for slasher, the first Scream is like my favorite ever. Not slasher, Scott Derrickson's Exorcism at Emily Rose is like... that movie gets me every time.
Okay. Non-slasher, I liked Hush. Hush was really good.
Oh, that's good.
Slasher though.
See, I'm a fan of the classics. I got to go with Halloween.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Halloween is the classic, the ultimate.
Exactly. So,
and I got news that they're rebooting that too.
Again.
As long as Jamie Lee Curtis is involved, I think I'm happy for it.
Well, pretty soon she's going to be fighting off Michael Myers with a cane or a walker, and it's going to become untenable. And then we're going to turn to CGI. and then it's just going to be an unholy... I mean, it's going to be even more horrifying than the actual horror.
Yeah, the rebooting of franchises runs out at some point.
Well, I kind of feel like, I don't know if it's just for my own experience, but I watch and it seems like they're just going to keep trying to redefine the definition of insanity. If at first the fans don't like this, we're going to keep doing it over and over and over again until they like it and we profit off of it. Otherwise, they're just going to keep throwing the same stuff at us every few years. Like, how many times have they redone the Fantastic Four? At least twice, maybe not 3 times. I don't know.
Twice.
Okay.
Yeah, they did 2 of like the original franchise, and then they came back and did it again with the one that was not so great.
Yeah.
And they're doing it again.
Hopefully they'll do it right, though, this time, which I feel like they will.
They kind of have to. It's in phase 4.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. They can get the talent and the acting that they need to make that work. Because the Fantastic Four is kind of a tricky ensemble to get right.
Yeah, I think that's the issue, is like getting them right, because they have to mesh well and they're all very different from each other, all most lineups, but it's just a different energy with them. So it is hard, I think, to get them right, which I just picked up the Invisible Woman series today, by the way. So I'm excited for that.
Have you started it yet?
No, I literally just bought it today after my nail appointment. I went to the comic book store.
Nice. So I'm assuming you have a pull list, and
I don't go regularly, which is like not good, but I knew that they were doing Invisible Woman, so I grabbed that, and I grabbed Fantastic Four, The Prodigal Son, and I actually bought a Batman and the Outsiders comic.
Oh, interesting. I haven't heard of that one.
I was just like, I needed to read something kind of towards my podcast for Black Lightning, so that's why I picked that one up.
Nice. So anything else you guys would like to recommend that you're into recently that you can't not stop talking about?
The Amelia Project that started season 2, and it's great.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
It's an audio drama made by Imploding Fictions. It's I don't know if you'd call them shady, but it's an organization that fakes people's deaths and reappearances. It's a really good comedy, I'd say.
Oh, it's a comedy? That's awesome.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
If anything in general, I've really got back into this band Emarosa, so everyone should check them out. They're great.
What's the band again? I'm sorry.
They're called Emarosa. It's Emarosa.
Okay. And what kind of music?
The original stuff was a little bit like pop punk. Well, they still are kind of pop punk, but now they're leaning more into the pop right now. So the new album's been really good. It's kind of like an 80s throwback album. It's very fun.
That's great. How about you, Adam?
I'm just blown away by all the Star Trek stuff that's coming out. You know, just the animated series that's coming out and the Picard series. And that's what I'm really excited for and looking forward to. And I highly recommend people check it out, and because we need more Star Trek fans in the world. In addition to Star Wars. Star Wars is great too.
They both have their merits.
Exactly.
Have you've been enjoying Discovery, I'm assuming?
I felt like season 1 was a little bit rocky, but when they hit season 2 and they had Pike on board, I mean, it was a great kind of gelling of the characters of the main cast and the secondary characters. So I was really happy with that. I was kind of sad to see Anson Mount go. I really hope that they do give him his own series because he's fantastic as Captain Pike. But I'm really looking forward to see what happens in season 3.
Awesome. I have to finish that still, so I'm glad to hear it improves.
Sorry, I didn't mean to give anything away.
Oh, no, not at all. I'm a spoilers queen. I don't know about you guys, but I'll just look up anything that happens.
I feel like it depends on what it is. Like some things like, oh yeah, give me the spoilers. Other things like, no, quiet, don't tell me.
Yeah, it's like, let me watch it first.
Yeah.
Ooh, in terms of Marvel though, Cloak and Dagger.
I've watched like a good amount of it and I really enjoyed it. And I know I got sidetracked, so I haven't gotten back to it, but that's so good.
Oh, if you haven't finished season 1, it ends perfectly, and then season 2 picks up amazingly. I don't know, it's just a great teen drama.
I didn't even know it was out yet. I'm so excited to actually watch that.
It's on Hulu, right?
It's on Hulu.
Yeah, Hulu. Did season 2 already finish? I don't actually know. Yeah, season 2 finished.
Oh wow. Okay. I'm so behind the times.
Yeah, I feel like with most stuff I'm behind on.
We're drowning in content. That happens.
It's just so much content, and then when you're also trying to balance other parts of your life, it's just so easy to fall behind on everything.
Totally. Well, to wrap this up, I think we can close out by talking a little bit about what you guys are wanting to promote that you're currently working on. And we can go around if there's anything that you want to recommend or, rep that you are participating in outside of Fangirls and Fangirling, obviously. Start with that. And how about you, Eli?
I'm working on a musical with Halen Wellmet. We have 2 current trailers out. It's called Unlucky Charm. Kyle's also involved, and he actually sings. So be prepared for that. Very good singer.
Mm-hmm. Will be posted online?
Oh, yes, 100%.
Nice. Okay.
I will send you all of the links. I will blast it everywhere.
Perfect. And is there a place people can find you online?
Yes, on Twitter at Mr. Elijah Gabriel. One word, my handle.
That makes it very easy. That's great. How about you, Adam?
I was just cast in a podcast called Y2K. And so it's about this young woman discovers recordings left by her mother. I'm a little fuzzy on it, but she discovers these voicemails and starts playing them as part of a podcast because there's an interesting story behind them. And so you start to learn about these different interpersonal dynamics between all the characters that she's listening to. And so I play a character named Jono. And so I'm the only member of the cast. This is a very, very far-flung cast in multiple countries, and I'm the only one who's not using his natural accent. So I'm actually using working-class British. So that's kind of entertaining because there are some British people in the cast, and so I'm really self-conscious whenever I'm line reading with them. But they haven't called me out yet.
Have you done a lot of research for it?
What I'm really looking up are slang terms from around the year 2000 so that I have that right, because I can't improv a line unless I have really good context, and I don't want to just spout off and say something and hope that I didn't offend anybody. But I have practiced the character, so practiced his accent and tried to get him so that he sounds authentic. So I'm pretty happy with that.
You should watch Misfits.
Misfits, okay. I'll put that on my list.
I feel like that's a good early 2000 show to kind of pick up slang.
Misfits. Why does that sound familiar?
It's a really great show. It's about teens and sort of the juvie system.
Wait, that get superpowers?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I saw it. That was a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they ever do the American reboot of it or no?
I don't know. If they did, it probably didn't really work out very well.
Yeah.
Skins and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't watch the American version of Skins.
An American version was put in development in 2016. It's been shopped since 2012, and then June 6, 2017, Freeform pressed forward with a pilot. But that's it.
Oh, that's pretty sad. It's a very good concept, I think.
Yeah. Any
of the audiobooks that you've done, do you want to recommend, Adam?
Oh, sure. So I've done 3 of them. The longest one it's called Nanomorphosis. And so it's a futuristic sci-fi novel about a dying planet and the need to find a new planet, and there's nanotechnology in there. And I don't want to give away the plot, but I think I voiced about 16 different characters, 12 different accents or ages.
Oh, wow.
And, so it's 15 hours long. That was the book I was finishing up when I quasi auditioned for Fangirls. And so that was good. It's probably my best work. It's by Marla Anderson. And then I did a couple of others. One was called Children of Dawn, and that's another dystopian, futuristic sci-fi novella. And I did an anthology called What You Want to See. So they're out there on Audible, iTunes, and Amazon if anyone wants to check them out.
Awesome. Thank you. And where can people find you online?
So you can find me on Twitter at VO_voice actor. It's a very on the nose kind of handle, but I was really struggling to find something, and I just couldn't find one that wasn't taken. So I just went with Vo voice actor.
I like that. It is what it is on the tin,
Exactly. There's no exaggeration, no subterfuge. It is what it is.
So if I come up with a better one, would you use it? Is the real question.
I don't know. I'm wondering what you would come up with first. I would have to have first name approval.
I will DM you later after I think of something.
I'm shuddering. I mean, I'm really excited to hear this.
Just be prepared. That is all.
And Brittany?
So you can check out my podcast, the Black Lightning Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at BL_podcast. There's also Do You Even Comic Book and DC TV Classics. And do I have any other projects? Just Fangirls. Just Fangirls. And you can find me on Twitter at Hi Brittany Monet, where I tweet lots of wild things. I'm sorry, guys, as well as all my fangirling different things and, my love for Emma Rosa and Adam Driver.
Very good loves right there. And I like the multi-fandom account,
Yeah, that's me. I'm very much a Gemini and all over the place with what I am interested in, what I talk about.
And of course, you can find me and Nat at Ashes for Foxes on Twitter, where I talk incessantly about Asian dramas and Star Wars. But you didn't hear that here. So this has been Fangirling episode 5. And do you guys have any last thoughts on, what's coming up for the end of this show and how you feel?
It's so bittersweet because I've had so much fun playing Rish that I don't want to leave playing Rish yet. But I'm very excited for the way it ends. And I actually love a couple of moments between Rish and James. They're very funny. So,
I can't wait for them to hear those things.
Yeah, I don't even want to, I can't give it away how I approach some of the lines, but I'm just hoping one of the takes that I did, I think actually for episode 7, where you're saying my name, and if you know what I'm talking about,
yeah.
I improvised the line, and I think people might find that funny if Marie picks that line.
Yeah, I had to, I had to improvise with the way he was to get it right.
We're all looking forward to it a lot. So thank you.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you too.
I realized we fangirled more about other stuff than actually talking about fangirls. That's okay. It's okay.